Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of The Context. I'm your host, Shannon Williams, and I'm joined today by my good friend Craig, who is here filling in for Darren. Craig Jellick, who is one of the other co-founders here at Obot, and we're going to have an amazing show today. Ayesha is joining us all the way from Sri Lanka, from Colombo, which, if you've never been, is like one of the great cities of the world in terms of beauty and food and things to do and gorgeousness. Years ago, I got to go visit Colombo for a project at Sri Lanka Telecom, of all things, and I fell in love. It was just like absolutely one of the great work trips of my life. I'll never forget it. Honestly, the best food. That was the thing. The food was so good. I was like, I couldn't live here. I thought Indian food was good, and then I went to Sri Lanka and I realized, oh no, Sri Lankan food is a whole level higher than Indian food. Anyways, Ayesha, thank you for staying up into the middle of I guess it's 10:30 or so your time, right? 10:30?
11:30, 11:30.
11:30. Well, thank you for staying up so late and joining us. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. If you didn't know, we've wrapped up the London event a couple weeks ago. All of the sessions are live on YouTube, so go back, take a look. You'll see lots of great talks, including some talks about the upcoming release of MCP that is coming out. We should be getting a release candidate tomorrow and hopefully release on the 25th. So we're getting plans in place for next year's MCP Dev Summit, which is scheduled for April. So mark your calendars, block the dates, and expect to see a call for papers quite soon. We've been on a roll. There's been just week after week, we're getting amazing speakers to come on the Context and show what they're doing with MCP, how they're using it, where it's going. Yesterday, actually, we ran a special episode. If you didn't see it, we had David Soryapara from Anthropic on for a good hour with Darren and I, just talking about the next release and diving into the spec, talking about the new features around tasks, which allows for asynchronous work. It's very interesting, and also talking about extensions, talking about all sorts of things around ID. In fact, we talked quite a bit about the new client metadata ID. I think it's called client ID metadata approach to managing identity that's coming in. So, which is very much aligned with our talk today, because Ayesha is going to be talking about agent identity. So, if you haven't seen that, it's live, it's up, it's on YouTube by now. So please go back, watch that. You will learn a lot for sure. You might need to skip through some of the parts where Darren and David dive deep into the spec, but maybe not. I think that's what people love. We have a couple great shows coming up. We are going to take a little bit of a break over the weekend for Thanksgiving, because next 2 weeks from now we'll be off. But today we have Ayesha's talk. Tomorrow, next week, I should say, we have one talk about analytics and another talk about sort of metrics, which is kind of around analytics. So I think we're going to have, my hope is we'll have a bit of a deep discussion on how to do observability on MCPs with a couple different perspectives, and should be a very interesting talk if you're running production MCP servers like many of us are. And then we'll be talking a little bit about security the week after with MCP Cloud AI. So lots of good talks. As always, we're going to try to keep these moving fast. Today we just have Ayesha, so I will definitely still try to keep the talk under 20 minutes, but no promises. We've got the hour. So with that, let's get started. Ayesha, I'm super excited to have you join us. I know you've been at WSO2 for a while. You're one of the architects there, and we're really excited to hear your talk about agent identities.
Thanks, Shannon. And it's great to be here and talking about security on AI and all. So let me start with sharing my screen. So I'll kind of first go through some of the few slides explaining what we are doing at WSO2, specifically on agent IAM front, and then quick demo and some innovations that we've been working on. So WSO2, we have like multiple different products that we provide for enterprises to build AI, modern AI enabled applications. So one of the pillars are identity and access management, and we have API management pillar, we have an integration pillar, and we have an internal developer platform. So I'm from the Identity and Access Management BU. I'm heading the R&D on agentic identity and security around agents and so on. So I've been with WSO2 for more than 10 years now, in the identity domain for about 9 years. So I'm heavily on the identity and access management side and security side of it. So I kind of look at how we uh, when we are making our business resources and enterprise resources available to the AI, how we should do it securely and responsibly. So this talk is more about how we are looking at that, and specifically how we identify these agents that are interacting with our business systems. um, so Shannon and Greg, if you have any questions, and feel free to jump in and ask questions. So as I go, so these are some of the numbers from recent reports about the security and AI integration. So the IBM's cost of data breach report states that 63% of the organization lacked AI governance in the accessing AI integrations, and among those who have faced any security related incident during the last period, 97% of them didn't have proper AI access control. So that's the magnitude of this problem, like not having proper AI access controls to business systems. And again, on the other side, SANS 25 report says that for the second consecutive year, they have identified AI as a top security risk. So they are that's also like enterprises are struggling to determine what policies and controls should be around AI and how to do that. So uh, with the rapid development of AI, so people are still trying to figure out uh, uh, and be aware of how we should be securing these agentic interactions with the business resources, and make sure that we get the best out of AI without compromising our security systems. Um, so when we, as an enterprise, if I am building a agent, and if I want to make my business resources available to the agent, so there are multiple security considerations that I might need to think of. So I want to think about, like, who these agents are, what are their attributes, what the capabilities and limitations that they have, and then on the other hand, what access levels that the agent should have, what tools it can access, what data it can access, and what operation on top of this data the agents have. And of course, agents can act their own because they have a brain, and they have the capability to make a decision and act upon that. So then also they can act on behalf of some other user, and for on behalf of multiple users as well. So they have this kind of hybrid behavior of user or a uh, application or workflow. So it doesn't fit into existing identity contract construct exactly as well. So that's why we think they deserve to be identified uniquely in the system, so that we can properly govern access control. uh, and what There are two sides of access controls. One side is that what resources and what access these what level of capabilities these agents have on top of resources. On the other hand, who and what system has access to this agent, who can trigger or interact with this agent. So there are two sides of that as well. And then accountability. So it's important that we trace what these agents are doing, and when something goes wrong, or and of course for the optimization and so on. So we might need to audit their actions and have a proper trail uh, of events that has been happen with the AI interactions. So if we don't do this properly, when we are making use of AI and enabling our resources to the AI, so we can end up facing catastrophic uh, failures, like privilege escalations, or agents doing things that they are not supposed to do because they are overprivileged and not being able to uh, face the compliance requirements and so on. So it's important that we get the uh, security part of AI agents from the day one without waiting until something goes wrong. So around this thought, so we thought that agents deserves their own identity and to be able to uniquely identify in the system and in the dashboards and so on, and so that they have the ability to authenticate and prove that they are this agent that they are saying, as well as we can audit them and we can govern their access in the system. So uh, if we look at the key fundamental capabilities of WSO2 agent ID platform, we can, by uniquely identifying agents, we can administer these agents life cycle, onboarding, their metadata, their uh, offboarding, and what this agent is. And then uh, we can issue credentials like agent friendly credentials like uh, private key JWTs, MTLS, those kind of agent friendly authentication mechanisms for agents so that they can authenticate themselves to the system. And then apply access controls for authorization. So you can role based access control kind of govern what these agents have access to. And then importantly, we enable auditing so that when an agent acting on its own, as well as when an agent acting on behalf of another entity, how we take that into audit and at the resource level, and how we can do that. So these are the fundamentals. So we have open source version of WSO IAM suite, which is WSO Identity Server. So these capabilities are available in the latest release, as well as our SaaS product, which is the Asgardio, that there also we have these capabilities enabled. So I'll quickly go through some sample scenario how we can see this in action, and especially on top of MCP. So I have a small website, Urban Bytes. It's a online ordering online restaurant that we can like interact with and order food. And for this system, I have enabled the AI assistant as a chat, as a chat. So the users can like interact with this system natural language, and the AI assistant can help you better uh, order a lunch or a dinner. So to understand the system, let me first show how would it be without any agentic AI capabilities, and in the traditional way. This system would be something like that. The user will interact with the application manually with the manual controls and form filling and button clicks and so on. And then the back that application would talk to a set of maybe a REST services that exposes the backend resources. And for that, user will for the security, user might authenticate with their credentials, and that user's token will be used to invoke these services. Now the interesting part comes in where we introduce agentic AI to the system. So then there will be a chat interface, a chatbot coming into the system as an assistant agent, and that assistant will agent will get set of tools from the MCP server that expose the business resources to this chat assistant. And of course there can be other internal agents employed with different tools to do other different business optimizations. Those might not have any user interaction, rather they will be working on the instructions given to it. And of course it will talk to a online AI model to make decisions and That'll be the brain of it. So all these interactions now we need to make them secure. So we earlier we had only one line, now we have multiple lines, and so this is the line that we are mostly interested in. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, let me show how first how I have modeled all of these. So I'm using WSO2 identity server for this demo. So this is running locally. I will be logging into the system. Excuse me. So I have an application. So this is the Urban Needs app. So I have that's there, and then I have a bunch of users who will be the customers of the system that will be interacting with the system, and then I have agents. So this is the most important one. So this agent is now identified as a first class entity in the system, and it has a unique identifier across the system. It has a set of we can maintain its properties. These are some of the default properties, but you can define some business specific properties as well. And then credentials. So there can be multiple different types of credentials that's associated with this agent, and you can assign different roles. For this scenario, I haven't assigned any role for this agent because this particular when it's AI assistant is supposed to work on behalf of users' delegated permission. So therefore, I didn't onboard any other roles or permissions for this agent. So now I have set things up and everything is running on. And let me show it in action. So this is my little website. So I can do ordering manually the usual way, or I can do ordering in the assistant as well. So first this assistants need to authorize I need to authorize this assistant so that it can make a connection to the MCP server. So authorization is completed. Now I'm logged in. Now let's ask something. Show me drinks. Okay, so now this guy went back to the MCP server and looked up for the menu, and it's showing nicely what these are the things available, and then I can ask order chocolate. Likewise, I can continue the chat. So let's look at okay, let's go back. So that's how the things work. I'll come back to this story again and first go back to the demo. Okay, before that, let me show some of the logs here. So these are the logs from the MCP server. So you can see there are some for all the. So this is the last tool call. So I asked it to order a hot chocolate. So there I have two entries, sub and act. So this is the subject or the user who's logged in, and this is the actor who's acting on my behalf. So this is the agent's identity, and this is the user who has delegated permission to the this agent. So that information is coming through the JWT token that's issued for this particular interaction. So it's mixed of users token and agents token. So in the system, when we first established the agent, I first obtained a token for the agent, so that agent is using its own credential and getting a proving that it's a valid user and getting a token for itself. And then I did the on behalf of a flow when I try to interact with this agent as a user. And then it's combination of these two, on behalf of flow and agents flow, and then it resulted in creating a JWT token that has information about the user as the subject as well as the actor, so as the agent. So this is the delegation semantic of token exchange, and we have made use of that to denote this on behalf of a token, so that every time request comes to the MCP server, and MCP server at that at the MCP gateway level, or a validation layer, or even at the tool level, you can look at that information and identify that this is an activity done by this particular agent on behalf of this particular user or entity. So how did that happen? So so this is the latter part of the MCP or the authorization flow, authorization code run flow. So here, from the client or the agent side, the client embedded in the agent will start the auth dance, and then at the point that it initiate, and it will do the discovery and everything, and then at the point it make a authorized request to the so the authorization server. We adding this additional parameter, the requested actor, denoting that this is the requested party, or in this case, in this particular case, agent who wants to access, or who wants users consent and authorization at this point. And then everything continues the normal way, and then at the point the authorization code is received, or once the user completes the authentication, we are sending the actor token, which is the agent's token, so that authorization server or Asgardio WSO2 identity server will issue a token combining user information and the party that was requesting users uh, uh, authorization on behalf of. So that's how, so once the token is received to the client, then client use it for the rest of the request. And then or at any gate, at this gateway level, so any of the validations at this level can use it for the auditing as well as tracking purposes, so that it has the information available. So that's pretty much what happened on terms of the authorization flow. So let's look at the overall picture, what happened, and how the security and tokens were used during this complete flow. So uh, in the regular way, when the user is using the application manually without any AI capabilities, it would use a standard authorization code grant issued token, which will be the user token. So, and then if the agent is working on behalf of a user, then agent, it will be using the or on behalf of a token uh, to present to the MCP server. And then when the agent is acting on its own, so then this particular backend behind, like background service kind of agent, so they don't have any users working on the behalf of them, but so then they can work on pre-granted permission and delegations to interact with the respective MCP servers and tools using their own tokens. And then this connection is also important. So we recommend, so I'd recommend that when you are making a call to the AI model, rather than directly making a AI API call to the AI model by embedding a API key, use AI gateway, so that at the AI gateway level, you can embed the respective underlying keys for the AI model. But and at the AI gateway level, you can look at who's the agent that's making this call, and based on that, you can do different authorizations and auditing and rate limiting, and apply multiple policies as well. In terms of identities, now we have different identities in and one more thing. So when there can be like machine to machine request as well. In this case, if some, like if we want to fire an event when some request come to the backend, like if order is made, you want to ask another agent to assign a delivery person. So in that case, it will be using kind of a application token or a machine to machine token for that as well. So there's another type of token as well. But in this way, we can uniquely identify each and every entity in the system, so that we can separately authorize them, authenticate them, and give permissions only required for their actions. Uh, and Most importantly, we can audit them independently as well. So in terms of identities, we have different these identities: users, apps, agents, properly in the IAM dashboard. So you can do governance and governance as well as maintaining of them separately as well. Yeah, that's pretty much. I was trying to fit it into the 20 minutes.
Awesome. Well, Ayesha, thank you for sharing all that. It's a really interesting idea and presentation. I guess my first question is one of maturity. So, what's the status of this solution? Is it already available? Is it part
Yeah,
of? It's out there, and how long has it been available? When did you guys first ship it?
So it was added to Asgari, which is our SaaS solution, a couple of months ago. So it's already available. So there's a free tier. So if anyone wants, they can go to wso.com/asgardio and try it out. So that's there. And this open source version, we are doing one fall release and one spring release, and we did the fall release like a couple of weeks ago. So that's available in the open source version from the like Identity Server 7.2 version onward. So but it's available in the SaaS version for from a couple of months ago.
Okay, and from the open source, was this added to an existing open source project, or is this an entirely new open source project?
This is added to the existing open source project. So we have, so it's a new version. We the latest version of that existing project.
Got it. Okay. And in terms of like, I'm not super familiar with WSO2, but the main function of the WSO2 project is kind of as a API gateway. Is that right? Or is it as more of a security and management product? Can you just give a little bit more context on WSO2 at the high level?
Yeah, in WSO2, so we started as an integration or middleware platform product, and we are evolving on that sense. So we have four main pillars. One is API management, so that's more popular as well, I think. And then so that in there we have multiple products for AI gateway capabilities. So we have a AI gateway, we have regular API management gateway, and we have there also we have the open source version as well as the SaaS version. And then we have identity and access management. So that's another pillar, another BU. So that's a separate product that also has open source version and SaaS version. And then we have an integration product. There we have multiple products, including BI, again, platform for building agents and building agents as well as integrations. And then the fourth line is the developer platform, where you can come and develop and manage your CI/CD pipelines and so on, so your services, applications, or even agents. So that's about what we do.
And I guess, and Craig, feel free to jump in. But my next question is a little bit more of just like, I'm trying to understand the value of having an identity for an agent in addition to the value of having the identity of the user. Because I mean, every time I access an MCP, if it's connecting to a backend app that requires identity, we're pathing OAuth, we're identifying the user. By adding the agent identity. So now I know the user and I know the sort of agent that's being used to access this MCP. What do you feel the added security is? Like, what's the addition by doing this? Like, how much more secure am I, and why am I more secure? Because I'm trying to understand, like, what are the risks that you're mitigating by adding these agent IDs to every agent? Because on the surface, it makes sense that an agent would have certain properties of access and it would have its own identity, but I'm trying to understand why this is a must-have versus why it's like an interesting idea, but not sure it's necessary.
Yeah, so one main thing, one thing is that you can apply in different policies. So when you have that information, when it's coming from an agent versus when it's coming from a user, so you can apply different policies like rate limiting. So, and of course, if the agent is trying to do something that's it not supposed to do, like for example, if it's trying to delete some information about the user's entry, so it can, right, it can make a order and the next time it can call the other tool that to delete the order. So they are we the system can like monitor that and decide. So there there might be something off, and then it can ask the user for another validation from an offline channel as well. So those kind of value additions are there in that case, and most importantly the auditability, because I think that's quite important on like what has happened. So we have traces of everything that the agents has done. Because if audit log says that everything is done by user and appears to be done by user, so we can't figure out if something goes wrong, right? So that's very
Yeah.
important.
I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like just, in an enterprise with a lot of, agents, you can imagine a future where that's the case. Like, wait, why is the HR agent attempting to delete orders? Like that combination shouldn't exist. And, even though I, as a user, have permission to delete orders, the fact that it's happening by way of the HR agent, that would be a signal that, yeah, this is like something, the HR agent may have gotten popped, and so you can lock that down, right? Like only when you're working through the orders agent can you modify orders, that sort of thing. It makes sense.
Do you feel like there's risk though if one of the things I've liked about sort of the broad idea that identity is tied to the user predominantly is that privilege is also tied to the user, like access is also tied to the user, is that it allows me to broadly say like a user can't talk an agent into doing something that it's not supposed to do because the agent only has the user's privilege. And so if you have an agent that now has its own set of sort of privilege, does it not potentially add kind of open things where someone is getting access to something that the agent is supposed to see, but the user may not be able to see, or like I worry a little bit about the idea of agents with their own identities, because broadly the systems that they're accessing don't expect anything but users. So they're kind of in the world of like I'm just imagining something like Salesforce, right? I have the users all have privilege and they all have access and they have a specific set of things. But if I'm now giving identity to an agent, do I need to give that agent a role in Salesforce? Do I need to give that agent a set of privileges in Salesforce? And then all of a sudden, am I like potentially allowing a user to engage with an agent to up level its access that the user might not otherwise have had access to? And so is that something you guys, am I being kind of like, am I making this too complicated? Is that eliminated just by the nature of like you're doubling here? You kind of have both the user access and the identity of the agent, or?
There are multiple ways. So one is like having user and agents capability. So I mentioned that like agent have the two behaviors. One is like working on behalf of a user, and the other one is working on its own. So when we are working on behalf of a user, so it can be a union of the agent and users, or it can be an intersection of user and agent, or it can be a subset of user and agent users permission. So there can be like different ways that how you grant permissions. And one of the things that we see from by giving an identity, you can govern access to an agent as well, like who are the users who has access to the agent. So that's also important, so that in that case the agent also become a resource of the system. So that's also that. So by giving that identity we enable that as well, right? So you might have access to a HR agent, but I might not have, like by the design. So that governance capability is coming by when you are identifying these agents uniquely. So I think that, so that value is also there.
Interesting. Craig, any questions that you want to dive into?
Yeah, I think one or two quick ones. So I think sort of the key, maybe technical bits I saw there were like, these things you're tacking on to the OAuth handshake, the requested actor and the actor token. Is that part of a specification, a draft specification? Is that unique to what y'all are doing?
Yeah, so we kind of proposed a draft around that as well. So we published it some time back, couple of months back. So we use that protocol. We are piggybacking on Oath, but we published as a draft draft proposal as well. Like mainly not only for the agent, because we can use it in other semantics as well. That's mainly useful when we want to dynamically give consent and authorization to the agents, because in the same flow, instead of 401, if you get a 403, when the agent doesn't have enough permission to do something, so we can do the authorization, and we can like give that information back to the authorization server that this agent need more of your permission, so that user can dynamically consent and give authorization. So that shows that part as well. So as that that's a draft we published.
Got it. Cool. And then the other thing I was wondering, someone wants to like a developer who's leveraging this, how did they hook this into an agent? Like, do you have an SDK that, hooks into just all the different agent frameworks, LangChain, that sort of thing?
So we have a Python-based SDK. We are working on multiple, like we are optimizing it to different other like agent development platforms specific. So right now we have a Python one. We are working on a TypeScript one. So that pretty much will give enable multiple developer platforms. Yeah.
Makes sense. Cool.
Awesome. Well, Ayesha, this was great. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing this with Craig and I and everybody. And we'll have this video up on YouTube and just probably tomorrow. So feel free to share it out there. But thanks everyone for joining us today. It was great to have Ayesha on from all the way from Sri Lanka and sharing agent identity data.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was great to have you. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.